Welcome to Social Aloe Ministries, where we are committed to glorifying God while exposing the devil. Have you ever noticed how power, it sometimes corrupts some people while others seems to really have no effect? Power doesn't corrupt all the time. And for example, you may have seen someone buy a new car, a muscle car, and then shortly afterwards gets in an accident and totals the car. They just couldn't handle the responsibility. That also happens in the religious community. Jesus tells us that many are called, few chosen. And the Lord also tells us that to whom much is given, much is required. But there are times when people get in position of authority and they start abusing their power. In the book of the first book of Samuel, we see how Eli was the judge over Israel, and he had sons. And because they were in the priesthood, they were allowed to tithes. They were allowed tithes. So when people were cooking, they could actually stick a fork into the pot, and whatsoever came up in the fork, they were allowed to have. But then they got so power hungry that they started going to people and demanding the meat before it's in the pot. So it wasn't an act of divine providence where they just stick the fork into the pot and whatever came out they got. No, they started choosing the best. So they started fleecing the flock. There's a very good example in the Bible of where a person truly understood power and authority. Jesus was a person who had power and authority. And he had an encounter with someone who could relate, and actually impressed the Lord. There are times you can see it where the Lord bestows a title on a person, or maybe the person gives him or herself a title, and instantly they change. They go from being Joe or Jill to the Reverend Doctor, Deacon something, all these kind of things. And it's like they're on another level that you can't relate to. But in Matthew 8, starting in verse 5, and when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him, saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth. And to another, Come, and he cometh. And to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said unto them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the self-same hour. The centurion, he commanded people. He told them to come and go, and what's what he said? That's what they did. He understood about power and authority. So he knew Jesus didn't have to come to his house. All the Lord had to do was speak the word. There are times when people use their title to try to advance certain things. Maybe to get people to treat them like they're special. But the centurion, he was a man of authority, and he knew how to use it. He knew that all Jesus had to do was just say the word. If you hear a person having to remind you of his or her title, or who he or she is supposed to be in your life, that is a person puffed up with pride. And Jesus, he will exalt the humble and abase the proud. The centurion knew that when you have authority, you don't even have to raise your voice. You don't even need to say your title. You say it, and it gets done. If you had to remind someone of who you are not who you think. There's also a difference between power and authority. A lot of times people exert power, but they have no authority, and nothing gets done. And they may say, "You don't know who I am?" It's like, I know who you are, but you have no authority here. And those individuals usually get offended. And people with power, they tend to be bullies. But those with authority, they just simply get things done. I remember I went to a class, and a man was teaching. And what I just read in the scripture came to mind, because I knew he was a person with authority. When Jesus was casting out demons, it wasn't because of power. It was because of his authority. They knew who he was. In fact, he would tell them not to say who he was, because demons were saying, basically, "Son of God, please don't torment us. It's not our time yet." Authority. So many people are using power because they have no authority.